in order to bring your temperature down. Now, it's not always able to stop it from increasing if you're not healthy, if there's something going wrong and that production of endocannabinoids is thrown off for whatever reason, you know, you got a flu or you're ill or something like that is kind of, you know, inhibiting the production of endocannabinoids. So there is that possibility, right? Say, you know, blood pressure would be an easier example to use in that direction because it's more common. I don't think people have a problem with their temperatures going up too much. But some people, as you know, are more hot-blooded than others. But anyway, your temperature goes up. This endocannabinoid is being released, telling your body, you know, get warmer, get warmer. And all of a sudden, your body, you know, hits that kind of, you know, peak temperature, and it's okay, you know, or you know, comfortable temperature, whatever that is, 98.1 or whatever. And then you hit that point, your body stops releasing endocannabinoids. You start, or you continue to heat up because you pumped yourself full of these, you know, hot endocannabinoids. And then you get to a point where your body says, okay, we're there, cool down. And if nothing else happens, you don't remove any clothing or anything like that, your body produces a separate endocannabinoid, and that starts to bring your body temperature down. My understanding is that there is one of the more predominant endocannabinoids, I'm not sure which one it is, but in most cannabis there is a cannabinoid that affects the temperature regulator such that it brings your body temperature down. Technically, people that smoke pot are more cool than people that don't. This is science, apparently, but you know, it's really something that is fascinating to hear the individuals like Dr. Melamede explain, you know, what is happening. What I just did was really not I think doing justice in some sense to the intricacy that's involved in the endocannabinoid system and the body and how the cannabis plant can affect it. But that's a really important theme in today's lecture because the development of this endocannabinoid system is really important. And I just threw this in out of nowhere. It doesn't fit this conversation at all, but I couldn't help it just to show people some information on it, right? Like, so this is when you first smoked it. I'll come back to endocannabinoids in a minute. So this here is like, you know, and distribution of THC. So this is time going this way, right? So we got up to like, you know, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 days here, right? So you smoke your joint now, you get it in your brain real quick, you know, real fast here, right? This is like, I think, you know, half an hour or whatever, I don't know. It looks like they distorted a little bit, but right away it goes into your brain, as soon as your blood and then your brain. And then I think this here is sort of like your high fluid organs and stuff like that. You know, internally, I don't think it's like your muscular system. I don't know the difference between perfusion tissues and high perfusion, but either way, down here you got your fat. But what's happening here, your fat really loves sucking up THC. That's why we will cook THC and fat soluble sorts of stuff, right? Because what you see is even though in your bloodstream it goes down real quick, although it stays like in small amounts in your bloodstream for days, right up to 30 days, there's a small amount in your bloodstream. What's happening over that 30 days is the fat is sucking it up and keeping it and sucking it up and keeping it and sucking it up and keeping it. Like, you know, you got 4 or 5 days later, and that's when this fat in your body, if you've got lots of fat, and I don't, so this is probably not real for me, but those who do, it's like 5 days after you smoked a joint when you stop probably, you know, getting more THC into your fat and it starts breaking down. Of course, if you're smoking joints all the time, you just hit there and you're there. So some of us, it's not really much of an ebb and flow. This is more for people that start with 0, right? Like, let's be real. Anyway, yeah, the means by which endocannabinoids affect the system, again, it's really fascinating, and it's become its own separate sort of scientific field. And I'm not going to pretend I understand 1/10 of this one. And there's a lot of other diagrams available on the internet about how endocannabinoids function and interact with the body. You know, there's more and more research coming out, and unfortunately, but I guess without them, the research wouldn't be done. A lot of the research is being done, if not all the research, is being done by drug companies. Because what they've thought is like, okay, sure, the cannabis plant can do all these things for all these people, but nobody's got all these problems, right? You know, that are listed off. Like, you know, when we have the class next week on medicinal cannabis products and stuff, you know, we could list off 50 or 60 major conditions that cannabis helps with. Well, nobody's got 50, 60 conditions. People might have 3 or 4. So the drug companies and whatever, the health gurus, they want like the drugs for the specific problem, not one that's going to work for everybody. That just doesn't work for their marketing strategy, right? So, you know, it's something that it really is driving the drug companies to mimicking endocannabinoids. Not the cannabinoids that appear in the natural plant that have multiple effects, but the endocannabinoids that only affect one system for one reason. Not THC that'll kill your pain because it's the very same endocannabinoid as anandamide, so it's attached to all your neurotransmitters that are built for anandamide, but it's an anti-inflammatory, so it's close enough to that endocannabinoid that it'll attach to that. Whereas your endocannabinoids, they're meant for separate things, right? Anandamide is just meant for pain killing, right? Anandamide isn't an anti-inflammatory, that's a different endocannabinoid. But when it comes to relaxing your muscles, relieving inflammation, killing pain, antioxidant, anti-anemic, you know, there's antifungal. I understand there's a number of properties that THC is good for, but the other cannabinoids are also good for those issues. So they sort of have this, the cannabinoids have this synergistic effect, right? Where they're mimicking a number of different endocannabinoids, not just one. They're suited enough that this baseball, like I say, that it can fit and almost kind of mold itself to different gloves. So if it sees itself, you know, coming into a bigger glove, well, it just puffs up a little bit, this one, you know, sort of thing. Whereas the endocannabinoids don't have that flexibility, right? They just can fit into the one. But you know, it's just like I say, I'd almost need a class to get into it. Now, one of the more contentious sort of health impacts that's separate from a medical issue is the use of women while they're pregnant when using cannabis. It's something that the majority of studies have been on the effects on the women, and often women, certainly women shouldn't use any drugs when they're pregnant, I should qualify that, but when forced to use prescription drugs to control nausea and feel as if they can, you know,